WXII 12 News. This is breaking news.
On this Tuesday night, folks, in Forsyth County, you're fondly remembering former Sheriff Ron Baker, who passed away earlier today. The sheriff was with Forsyth County from 1990 to 2002. One of his most notable accomplishments was the implementation of the so-called Sheriff's Alcohol Field Enforcement, or SAFE team. The goal was to keep streets and highways safe from impaired drivers. Sheriff spent 28 years with the office. He graduated from Wake Forest University and was a former teacher as well. Current Forsyth County Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough released a statement saying, quote, "I personally want to thank Sheriff Barker's family for allowing me to spend time talking with him prior to his transitioning. It is because of him and men and women like him that have gone before us that this agency is what it is today." Mr. Barker was 86 years old. More breaking news. A 16-year-old is shot dead in Winston-Salem. Officers found the victim, Jaden Jamison, dead in a car on Pittsburgh Avenue near Burton Street this afternoon. This is close to Kimberly Park. Let's go to Steve King. He joins us live this evening with late-breaking details. Steve, what do we know?
Kenny, now the scene is completely clear here next to Kimberly Park. The vehicle that the 16-year-old boy Jaden Jamison was shot and killed in has been removed from the scene, but we have images of the vehicle here when the scene was still active. Now, police say they responded to this area near Kimberly Park and the Martin Luther King Jr. Community Center just after noon today and found the teenager dead in the driver's seat. Investigators say that boy, Jaden Jamison, was also shot in the shoulder at a home on Eford Street back in August, but it's unclear if that shooting had anything to do with today's deadly shooting on Pittsburgh Avenue. That is something detectives are looking into, though. Right now, investigators have reason to believe Jamison was not alone in the vehicle when he was shot and killed today, but police are still working to identify a suspect. Police say the other person or people in the vehicle ran away before officers arrived. Detectives say they're interviewing witnesses right now, canvassing the area and following up on leads. Neighbors right now very upset. They shared their reaction with WXII 12 News. Now, police say that nearby Martin Luther King Jr. Community Center was empty at the time that the shooting occurred. Also, Kimberly Park Elementary School is nearby. Kimberly Park Elementary was not in session. None of the schools were today in Winston-Salem, Forsyth County because of a teacher workday. Police right now are not sure if this deadly shooting has to do with any of the other deadly incidents that happened in Winston-Salem in the last couple days. That is also something they are looking into. As you can see, Pittsburgh Avenue and Burton Street are now completely back open. They were blocked off for several hours today. Again, police have not identified a suspect. They say the best thing that they can have right now is that someone in the community comes forward. That is their best chance right now of identifying a suspect, as this investigation is just getting into the early stages. Reporting live in Winston-Salem, Steve King, WXII 12 News.
Thank you, Steve. And this is the second deadly shooting in the city of Winston-Salem in as many days. Police found Eric Coble on the side of Mulberry Street yesterday, not far from Broad. He died this afternoon. This is now a murder investigation as well. Police say there are at least 2 suspects in this case. We're also following another big story tonight, an historic vote on college sports. For more than a century, student athletes have not been allowed to make money off of their fame. Anyone caught selling gear or signing memorabilia for money has gotten in big trouble with the NCAA in the past. Tonight, though, it looks like those rules potentially could change. The Board of Governors unanimously approved allowing student athletes to, quote, benefit from the use of their name, image, and likeness in a manner consistent with the collegiate model. Chris Lee is here tonight to explain exactly what all of this means. Chris, is this close to a done deal at this point?
Well, Kenny, the short answer is no. The board's vote is the beginning of a possible change. The NCAA's 3 divisions now have to update their rules. Then there has to be approved after that. It'll be at least a year before we see any big changes actually coming from this. Now, one thing that's important to make clear is that this vote does not mean that the NCAA is allowing athletes to get paid to play sports. Part of the NCAA's full statement makes it clear that student athletes are students first and not employees of the university. Now, it's still not entirely clear what this will look like, but it could open up more opportunities for student athletes to do things like sign endorsement deals and licensing contracts. Now, today we got reaction on the vote from former NBA All-Star and Winston-Salem native Josh Howard. Here's what he had to say.
I know, as far as being a former student athlete, if I was to hear that type of news, I would kind of be excited, to further my opportunity in life, so With that being said, I think it could be great for, the student athletes coming up. I think in my mind, outside of, going out and asking for a loan, if the smart student athlete does right by this plan, if it happens, they will come out, basically on top.
Of course, Josh played basketball over at Wake Forest. California lawmakers passed a law last month that makes it illegal for schools in the state to prohibit athletes from making money on endorsements, signing autographs, and social media advertising. California's law takes in effect in 2023, and more than a dozen states are following with similar legislation after that. In the studio, I'm Chris Lee.
Righty, thank you, Chris. North Carolina Congressman Mark Walker is one of a number of federal lawmakers pushing for the NCAA to make these changes. He proposed the Student Athlete Equity Act back in the springtime to allow NCAA athletes to be compensated for the use of their name, image, and likeness. In a statement today, the congressman says, quote, "We clearly have the NCAA's attention. Now we need to have their action. While their words are promising, they have used words in the past to deny equity and basic constitutional rights for student athletes." The congressman says he's going to keep working toward passing the Student Athlete Equity Act, even in light of today's news. Meanwhile, another Republican from North Carolina plans to introduce his own legislation in response to today's NCAA vote. Senator Richard Burr tweeted, "If college athletes are going to make money off their likeness while in school, their scholarships should be treated like income. I'll be introducing legislation that subjects scholarships given to athletes who choose to cash in to income taxes." You can read much more about the NCAA vote right now on our website, WXII12.com. It's also on our mobile app. We have the entire NCAA group's statement regarding the vote on that homepage. State lawmakers are also talking about student athletes right now. A bill heading to the state Senate would allow UNC system schools to award full athletic scholarships to out-of-state students. Right now, those full scholarships are only given to in-state students. Supporters say this is fair because out-of-state students who get full academic scholarships are already treated as in-state students. But critics worry that taxpayers will have to cover the difference when it comes to tuition. And of course, in Raleigh, the budget is still a huge topic of discussion. The stalemate's been going on for months now. Senate leaders proposed a vote to override the governor's budget veto. The House approved the same override back in September. The Senate could now potentially do the same tomorrow, although the future there is very much unclear. Bill O'Neill explains where we are at this hour.
No end in sight, 112 days into this budget standoff. Republicans who no longer hold a supermajority in the legislature, they need one Democrat to join them to override the governor. But so far, Democrats say they're united in their support of the governor.
It's my hope Democrats will drop their Medicaid ultimatum.
While Medicaid expansion has prevented the two sides from making a deal on the budget, Senate Leader Phil Berger yesterday afternoon announced the possibility of a mini budget on teacher pay.
If Democrats refuse to support a compromise for the budget, they will not be a part of that process.
Berger says Republicans are prepared to offer teachers more than the 3.9% that's currently in the GOP budget, but didn't say how much more. Last week, Governor Cooper offered to put Medicaid aside and negotiate teacher salaries separate from the budget. Berger turned down the offer, saying teacher salaries were too big a part of the budget to make a separate deal.
What we've heard from Senator Berger all along is that if Medicaid expansion is an ultimatum, then we have nothing to talk about. So I think he called their bluff.
Guilford County Democrat Michael Garrett says he remains hopeful the legislature will come around and expand Medicaid coverage in North Carolina.
I think there are many members of the Republican caucus that understand the impact of Medicaid expansion, especially to rural North Carolina, and are open to seeing it done, but are fearful of a primary challenge if they do it before that.
But we will never reach agreement if the Democrats continue to oppose any compromised budget that does not include Medicaid expansion. It's up to them. They can negotiate or they can hold out over a single policy disagreement.
Senator Berger says the General Assembly will wrap up business this Thursday with or without a budget. In Greensboro, I'm Bill O'Neill, WXII 12 News.
Thank you, Bill. More and more people are being diagnosed with hepatitis A in Forsyth County. The health department says there have been 12 confirmed cases so far already. Health leaders say these cases are linked to a multi-state outbreak among people who are homeless and use drugs. Hep A is a disease of the liver. Health experts say you can get it by eating contaminated food or water. Well, tonight we're learning more about funeral arrangements for former U.S. Senator Kay Hagan. Her service will be held this Sunday afternoon in Greensboro at First Presbyterian Church. That's on North Elm Street. The visitation will follow that service at the Mullen Life Center on North Green Street. Hagan was the first female Democrat to ever represent North Carolina in the United States Senate. She was elected in 2008 and served one 6-year term. In 2016, doctors diagnosed her with a tick-borne illness that, among other things, caused brain inflammation. She passed away at her home yesterday at the age of 66.